Hey book friends, how's it going? Thank you for stopping by for today's video. Today's video is on the book called Lovestruck by Nikki Ashton. I was so bummed when this book came out because it came out, I think, maybe a month or two ago, 2 months ago, and my reading schedule was so full when it came out, and I just could not fit it in to read at that time. I knew that it was a duet, so I kept my eye on when the second book was going to be released. So when the time came for me to be able to sign up for the second book, which is right now, I actually had a little breathing room in my reading schedule, so I went ahead and I had grabbed Lovestruck the day it was released. So I went ahead and started it, and then I also signed up for Lovestruck, which is, like I said, the second book. So I'm so excited to be able to finally bring to you Lovestruck. And also keep in mind, I will be doing a video on Lovestruck. So 2 books. This book is by Nikki Ashton. I adore her. First of all, she wrote some of my favorite words, and I talked about that in the video that I did on her book Samuel. And I honestly, the words are so simple, and I know I've talked about it a few times, but actually, if I ever get a tattoo, literally that will be one of the tattoos I get. And I've told Nikki that, and I make sure I will promise to show you if I ever bite the bullet and do it, Nikki. So I was excited to be able to read something else of hers. I have quite a few books of hers on my TBR. She was very sweet and generous when I shared the video of Samuel with her. I like her writing style. I have a few other of Nikki's books on my to be read list, and I thought I would share them with you. They are obviously Lovestruck, and I actually, points for me because I'm going to give you the genre that they're in as well. You know that I kind of struggle with that, and I don't always know that, but I did write that down. So it's Lovestruck, which is again another bully romance, the second book in this duet. Do You Extra, which is rom-com, and Enemies to Lovers. I have Pelvic Flaws on my list, which is second chance rom-com, and I have Elijah, which is second chance secret baby, and that's actually the book before Samuel. So I read Samuel out of order, and Elijah is Samuel's brother. It's the Cooper's brother series or duet, and I really want to go back and read that. And she just gave them new covers, gorgeous. Can I mention also the covers for Lovestruck and Lovestruck? I will of course put them up and you can see them. Just love her covers. And then actually also the book that's been on my to be read the longest of hers is The Big O, like, you know, The Big O, and that's a rom-com. Now, I would have to say I was a little bit nervous because I knew this was a bully romance, and I don't read that many of them. Not because I have an aversion to them, but I just get worried about the whole bully thing. And I recently did read one, which was Tennessee Truths by Ashley Munoz. I adore Ashley and her writing, and I realized why those books are hard for me to read. I'm just too sensitive. So the whole bully thing, even though usually the bullies redeem themselves in some way, and I'm all for a redeemed character, it still breaks my heart, and it's just hard on me. So I was nervous to start to read this one. I'm such a baby. But I trusted Nikki that she would take care of my heart, and so far she has. Lovestruck is dual perspective, which I love. Each character has gotten their own chapter. The 2 characters are Sarah and Adam. They're high school age. It takes place in England, and I really do like when an English author writes about English things because the words and the vocabulary is slightly different, and I love those little differences and how you guys call things a little, like we call it high school. I think you guys call it a little something else, secondary school or something like that. I loved how, and I actually highlighted how, I think it's Adam gets money for his birthday, I think it was, and she talks about in the actual correct monetary vocabulary, okay, that sounds weird, she calls money what you guys call money, quids and something else. I can't remember what it was now, but I love that. And I actually didn't know how much a quid was worth in American dollars. So I looked that up. I learned something. I enjoy when the words are just a little bit different. Hatestruck starts out, the prologue is like smack you in the face, holy crap moment. I knew that I was in for quite a ride when I finished, you know, the first couple pages, the prologue, because, oh my gosh, if I wasn't already a little nervous about the book, how the book starts and where Sarah is in her life when this book starts, oh my gosh, I immediately, like, my maternal instincts kicked in for her, and I wanted to wrap my arms around her, and I was invested immediately. Sarah has been through a lot already in her young life, most recently in the previous couple years right before the book starts. She has lost her father, and as a result of that, her and her mother really struggled. Grief overtook her mom, and her mom kind of checked out, and it was at a time where Sarah needed her the most. And although her mom is coming around and realizes, because something else so horrible happens to Sarah, and it like snaps her mom out of her grief kind of trance that she had been in since losing her husband, and kicks her back into being part of her daughter's life, and is doing everything that she can to help and get back engaged with her. It just starts in a place where you're like, oh my God. And to know it was a bully romance, I was like, oh no, where are we going? What are we doing? I'm worried. But I liked Sarah. And something that's very special to Sarah, which immediately was like, my heart just exploded, is the song You Are My Sunshine. And she will sing that to herself when she's struggling and when she's nervous and when she's scared and she's trying to like feel her dad with her. And, you know, I think it's true for a lot of us, but that song is very special to me. It reminds me of my mom. She would sing that to us when we were little. I think most of us mothers have sung that to our babies at some point. I know I sang it to my babies, but I immediately think of my mom. That being said, it made me connect with Sarah right away. And now about Adam. Okay, Adam is the hot, chip on his shoulder, alpha, ass, leader, kind of seemingly without feelings. They are, I think, juniors or seniors in high school. I believe it's seniors because they talk about college a bit. And Adam doesn't really seem to care about people's feelings. He's vicious. He treats everyone in his life like crap, except for his little sister, which I thought was very sweet. And at least he had that going for him, in my opinion. His relationship with his mom is not good. And he has a stepdad. He's had several stepdads. This one is actually married to his mom. And you know that there's something else there. And there's a reason. I, of course, think there's a reason why someone acts the way they act, right? But I wanted to know why Adam was like that. And I knew it had something to do with the men in his life. He's dark, and I could not figure out how Nikki was going to make me like him at all. So the book starts, Sarah's in a very low place. They have moved to a different town. She's going to a new high school. And right there, I automatically was like, oh, the poor girl. I know what that's like. Adam picks her out right away, and he sees and senses something in her that he's drawn to. So he's kind of like he's a user, and he uses people to get what he wants and then discards them. He treats girls like crap, and it's something that's talked about in the book about how he's like a pump him and dump him kind of type guy, I guess is the right word. But then he's vicious about it, and he talks about wanting to ruin them. He wants to destroy them after he's used them. The way he talks about sex, the way he treats the girls in the school, and yet he sees Sarah and he's like, there's my next victim. And I was like, oh no, you don't. But of course, that's what the book's about. He sees the quiet strength that she has just by walking around the school and the small interactions that they have. She's been warned off of him. She's trying to stay away from him. She is trying to stay off his radar. It's not working. He sees her standing up to him in little ways. He sees her walking around with her head up. He sees that he doesn't seem to be getting to her in a lot of ways, that he's noticing all these things about her. He's very confused by her. He's confused about how he feels towards her. He cannot wait to get his hands on her so he can use her and then discard her and destroy her. And yet he's not able to do that because the interactions they have, she doesn't really back down. Sarah doesn't go full at him. She does, but she seems to be able to put him in his place and not show fear and not back down. And yet she's timid and she's quiet, and it's very perplexing for him. He begins to kind of silently torment her every time he can. He searches her out a bit. Life keeps putting them in each other's paths, and this is something that he says about her. As the girls begin to laugh, something darkened in my heart. I effing hated the fact that Sarah had done that for them. I'd broken them, and she was putting them back together. And then this is where Sarah's head is at. Most people wouldn't, but someone with a black soul might recognize themselves in the hostile words and phrases and figure out that I had pain dragging me down, someone like Adam Hudson. Sarah, because she is an introspective person, wonders why he is the way he is. They experience something together that bonds them and kicks in a protective instinct in Adam that he didn't realize he could have for somebody else besides his sister. And it makes him take a breath and is like, whoa, because it's a very scary situation. That's where I started to see things brewing with him. That's where I started to feel like, okay, maybe he can be reformed. Maybe I want to know why he is the way he is. And Nikki had given us some little Easter eggs, but it made me want to dive deep into him. I was already in with Sarah, but that's where it started to change for me after they experienced this really scary situation. And lo and behold, that's where they found, with him being able to give her this protection in that moment, and her feeling protected by him, it was reciprocal, that he was able to let his guard down, and she was able to let her guard down a little bit. And that's where I really dug into this book, and I was like, okay, this is getting to be the parts that I love. Two people learning about each other and discovering each other and starting on the path towards something. But I was still really nervous. One of my favorite characters in this book, because there's a few other characters, was his stepdad. He was just such a good guy. He was exactly who Adam needed, but Adam couldn't let himself need or want or accept him in his life. And yet his stepdad, kept trying and never gave up on him and would tell him that. Like I'm getting teary about it. Roger was just, he was just everything. He was exactly who you would want someone like Adam, with everything that happened to Adam in his life, to eventually have in his life, to be able to get to a better place and be everything that he can be. I had such high hopes for him and Roger. There's a very sweet there's a lot of very sweet moments, but there's a very sweet moment which I love and have now realized and seen in several books that I'm reading. And it's Adam and Sarah are talking, and he reaches over and he tucks a piece of hair behind her ear. Okay, why is like that and like when they talk about hand holding in books, those are like my favorite things. And Adam talks about not wanting to let go of her hand, and Sarah talks about needing to touch him and hold his hand, and I love that. And then just the cute little, like where he reaches over and does that, I could see that in my head and I could feel that in my heart. Ugh, I just love those little moments. Hatestruck ends in a cliffhanger. Ah. And what a cliffhanger it is. I did not see it coming at all. I, because of the way Adam is, kind of thought that it was going to go one way and there was going to be somebody else involved and that he was going to maybe do something different. What the cliffhanger is, I didn't see it until it happened. I was totally taken aback, totally surprised by it. Oh my gosh. And of course, I went right ahead, went right into my library, opened up Lovestruck, and I have started reading it, thank goodness. I would highly recommend reading this book, and then of course Lovestruck when it comes out. Let me know if you have read it in the comment section below, or what other books of Nikki's you have read. I would love to hear and get recommendations as always. I will include the video I did on Samuel in the comment section below. I would love for you to check that out as well. Thank you in advance for subscribing to my channel. I really do appreciate it, and giving the thumbs up if you like this video. It does help me on the YouTube platform and this video get noticed. Make sure you hop over to my social media, which is Cat Reads Romance, and also I have my very own reader group where we give book recommendations. We have fun, it's nice people, it's authors and readers alike. And the group is called Cat's Romance Readers. I would love to have you join. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, guys. I'll see you soon. Bye.